has never been a more important time to move in a vegan direction. Whether you're ready to start, restart, or re-energize your vegan or plant-based practice, this podcast is for you. I'm Michele Olander, life coach, vegan, ADHD matriarch, travel lover, and smoothie loather. And I know that it's the details that get in the way of your vegan journey. But I like to believe that the obstacle is always the way. So every week we meet here where I translate the tools of life coaching and Stoic philosophy. I bring you actionable tips, some laughs, interesting guests, and vegan ideas for everyone at any age. All to help you veg your best. Episode 271. Are you waiting to veg your best? Hey kids, it's Michele. Thank you so much for tuning in today, for listening, for subscribing and sharing this podcast, and just for being part of the Veg Your Best community. You know, many of you are really great friends and supporters of the show, loyal listeners, and a lot of you check in with me frequently, and I know that some of you, a lot of you, are waiting. You're waiting these last weeks of 2025. A lot of us are not vegging our best. What's going on? We're not writing our best or working out our best or investing our best or moving our best or decluttering our best because we are waiting. We're waiting till the Halloween candy's finished or to start fresh, unquote, after Thanksgiving or after the holidays or after New Year's or when the kids decide where they're going to college or when our medical appointments or procedures are finished. We all do it. We tell ourselves, yeah, I'll get back to that when things calm down or when I know what's happening or after vacation. But here's what I want to explore today. What is that instinct to wait? What is that? What is it that we delay starting things until we get to some sort of mythical, perfect time? And you know, often it sounds kind of thoughtful, it sounds kind of wise, but I think in so many cases it is a symptom of commercial culture. And when we're developing our vegan or our plant-based practice, it can really often be tied up a lot with the legacy of commercial diet culture. You know, diet culture has trained so many of us to believe that change, you know, has to be tough and challenging and disciplined and all or nothing. And the idea of not having what you want is so much part of it, and doing what you don't want, keeping your eyes on the prize, toughing it out. And, you know, that kind of thought conditioning doesn't just make dieting in general miserable for most of us. It also makes it ineffective for almost everyone, especially in the long term. But commercial diet culture has seeped into how so many of us approach veganism or approach a plant-based lifestyle. And, you know, I haven't talked about it that much here on the podcast. I've tried to talk around it, but, you know, as we're coming up on the end of the year and I'm seeing all these, you know, I think honestly predatory methods aimed at people to take medications and be dissatisfied with themselves. And of course, there's nothing wrong with a medication. And whatever works for people, I support what works for people. But for most people, these things that people are selling us don't work. And I think most of us know, look, if you can look back on the 70s, about diet culture since the 60s or 70s, I think most of you know that it was never about health. It was about selling us an idea, which was for most all of us completely unsustainable, and that we would just end up doing again and paying for again over and over and over until we completely lost faith in ourselves. So when we think about moving towards vegan or plant-based living, where a lot of the practice surrounds our choices in food, that same voice pipes up because it's been so triggered in most of us. Not now. You don't have the focus yet. You'll just mess it up through the holidays. This has happened before. Wait until you can do it better, perfectly. But perfection, the idea of doing it right, quote unquote, this is where we always get stuck. Because we know now, right? We know that diet culture is designed to fail. Because if you keep failing, you keep buying the next program, the next reset, the next cleanse, the next round of guilt, and starting over. And also you're too busy, because you're doing all that, you're too busy to build the powerful life you want and exercise the leadership in your home and your community and your workspace where your individual strengths and brains and expertise are most needed. So, veganism, plant-based practice, whatever name you use, I do not call it a diet. I always call it a practice. I consider it a set of actions that form a lifestyle, and actions that you take that reflect your concern, your compassion, your ideas about sustainability and care for yourself, for your community, your planet, and for the animals as well. It's not a finish line. It's not something you get through. It's not something you get to. It's not like something that, well, I will be fine when I'm there. Because there is no there. It's not an idea where your life is on hold until you conquer it. A vegan or plant-based lifestyle is just a way of living that I think that many people I talk to believe evolves in a beautiful way for the rest of our lives. So that's why here at Vedge Your Best, I don't like to ever be thought of teaching a diet plan at all. I'm inviting you always to simply build your practice, the one that feels aligned and doable and deeply personal to you. And it's not so hard that you have to wait for some other time to start. And you know, I say it all the time, how you go vegan is how you do everything. I think that moving in a vegan direction is absolutely what kick-started my personal development in every single way. Every single way. And I see so many middle-aged and older folks with their lives opening and blooming and evolving on this journey, not because they do it perfectly or in a certain way, but because they let an idea of doing less harm underpin the decisions that they make. So if you would approach this change with punishment, yeah, you're going to carry that energy everywhere. And of course, you're going to be looking for a reason why you can't do that today. But if you approach this journey, if you approach Vedge Your Best with curiosity and compassion, that ripples into everything you do. So I know we are in the midst of the holidays, though. To be frank, I do push back on the idea of Halloween being a holiday. But some of my best friends enjoy Halloween and consider it the kickoff for the holiday season. But my point is, please do not use these several holidays or long weekends in the last 2 months of the year as an excuse to not create some traction or motion on the future you that you want to build. So here's my challenge to you this holiday season, these last few weeks of the year. Don't wait. Don't wait for the Halloween candy to be gone. Don't wait until you figured out the holiday gift list or for your January getaway or what meals you're eating with which people. Don't wait. Don't wait for after. Please don't put off anything important to you until after. Let's explore why you would even want to wait until after, because I think it means you've got some idea that this is going to be too hard and take too much time and too much bandwidth, and you're not ready or worthy until you've sorted something out or everyone else is sorted out. I've been waiting for everyone else to be sorted out for decades because waiting is that diet culture logic. And it's an example, I think, honestly, of a kind of diet trauma. And if there's one thing I have tried for 5 years to do, it's to separate from the vegan and plant-based journey that dieting mentality. I really want us to opt out of it today. You can choose something small, something comfortable or compassionate. You can choose action right now, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be daily. It doesn't have to be... just get all that perfectionism out of your mind. Swap a meal, try a recipe, read a book, sign up for a vegan newsletter, listen to a podcast, donate to a sanctuary. These tiny steps are how you begin curating a lasting lifestyle. And when you start from peace, you stop needing to start over. When you start from punishment, well, that's why you're thinking about waiting. And of course, change does feel uncomfortable a lot of the time. And there's a word I use a lot for this feeling: unmoored, untied from your old habits and relationships in life, but not yet fully underway, not fully under sail. You're kind of drifting in that messy middle, but that's not failure. That's just the moment before you're underway. And you can't get underway until those lines are off. So please consider letting that feeling of being a little wobbly, a little unmoored, that is a good sign. You're in transition. You don't need to wait to be perfect. You're just evolving. You don't have to have it figured out. Diet culture and the failure that so many of us have felt in that really predatory culture has made so many of us believe that waiting has some kind of wisdom, that it might work better. But this is just really, I think most of us know this is just another delay tactic that our systems use to help us avoid feeling failure. And what if you didn't have to feel any failure on this? I want you to know that you can leave that behind today because you do not need a perfect plan. You don't have to start big. You don't have to start with all the information first. You just have to start. And you don't have to do it anyone else's way. The thought that you need to, the thought that you have to do it in a certain way is exactly what stands in the way of your success. And you do not have to have that thought anymore, because how you go vegan, how you take care of your health, your creativity, your business, your education, this is how you do everything. And if you ever want support on that path, you can come find me at vegan@anyage.com or sign up for my weekly V-mail. And you can just hit reply on any of those V-mails, or you can direct message me on Instagram. I read every message, every DM, and they truly make my day. So whatever your priorities are right now, please do not let a few red letter days on the calendar be an excuse to not make some progress on what it is you really want for yourself and your world. Because there's literally no time like the present to veg your best. Vedge Your Best podcast production, music, and editing by Charlie Weinshank. Thanks, Charlie. Before you go, it would mean so much to me and the Vedge Your Best team if you would hit subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, or share with someone you think might be interested. Something about algorithms, it helps bump us up a little in the rankings, and that's the best way to help others find the podcast and for us to find our audience. So, until next week, make it easy and veg your best.